Hello, good morning everybody. My name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and this is our live weekly Q&A. You ask me Q's, I give you A's, and then we all try to get along and take our belongings, take our winnings, and get out without anybody getting hurt. Although I can't promise that, I will do my best. This is Saturday morning, June 11th, and the weather is, I'll give you the traffic report in about 10 minutes as well. I'm just stalling for time as I fiddle with things. Sorry. Let's see. All right, you can hear me apparently. Alrighty, moderator Chris is on duty. And in command. All right, good to go. So, yes, channel news. Obviously, there wasn't much out this week, although I just put 2 videos up, like literally one right before I started this Q&A because it just finished uploading. Another one is being a total bitch about uploading. I have one more video and it just does not want to work. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that. But in the meantime, you can check those out. Fireteam Zero review and Escape from the Aliens and Outer Space review. I've been up all night. I literally, I have not slept in over 24 hours. Yeah, over 24 hours. I'm probably like 28 hours at this point. I took little tiny cat naps, like 10 minutes here and there while I was waiting for things to upload and process. So, yeah, I'm a bit, I don't know. I've kind of gotten my second or third or 20th wind, and yet I feel like I could just have a stroke at any moment. We'll see what happens. A little from column A, a little from column B. And I actually, after this, I have to like get ready for game night. We'll see. We'll see if I just pass out. But the games will go on without me. But not the Q&A, unfortunately. Unless, think of it as like the Yule log. So, you know how when Christmas comes around, there'll be a channel that just has a picture of the Yule log burning with doing nothing else? My version of that will just be me passed out in front of the screen. And the Q&A just keeps going endlessly. That's something. I mean, it's different. All right, guys. We are going to start with the questions. Please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez, and get as many people here as possible to have a good, vibrant community of questionnaires. Questionnaires, like the Rocketeer. Anything else I need to tell you about channel related? Ooh, you see the rollout of the new art. I'm very, very, very happy with it. So I love the thumbnails. It adds more time to me putting the videos up because I have to like overlay them and all that stuff, but I'm getting into Photoshop again for the first time since Photoshop 3.0 in like 1997. So it's a learning process again. Everything's different, but I'm getting into it. So that's fun. Love the artwork. There's gonna be more artwork coming. Hopefully there's gonna be a new thumbnail for this, the Q&A, which I had a really nifty idea with me and the artist. And then also our Kingdom Death series, which has been perpetually delayed. One day, I swear, that also has some cool art that's already in the finishing stages, I think. So very, very happy with the way the artwork's going. And I have you guys to thank for that because, of course, that was our first Patreon goal. Go check out Patreon if you are so inclined. I just put out my sell sheet where I sell a bunch of my used games at a steep discount. A lot of good stuff, too. Stuff that I just can't hold on to because I'm literally running out of room in my tiny 2-room apartment. So check that out. All it is $10 a month to get access to that. All right, let's move on. Nick, what is your favorite steampunk game and your least favorite fantasy game? Interesting. My favorite steampunk game. I am not into steampunk, and so I honestly can't even think of one off the top of my head that I'm really into. I like cyberpunk, but that's very different. Steampunk. What do I like? Usually you guys tell me what I like because I don't remember. You're like, no, Nick, you like that one game. Would you consider War Machine to be steampunk? It kind of, sort of is, especially the Signar Empire. I'm going to say War Machine. High Command. My least favorite fantasy game. That's way too broad a category. There's a lot of fantasy games that I can't stand. Story War is a fantasy game. There was some dumb bidding game. Oh, man, I can't remember. Magic Swords or something like that? I don't know. There's a lot of bad fantasy games, despite it being one of my favorite genres. Morning, Nick. I took the plunge. My Kingdom Death monster will be here Monday. Well, you are a brave man because I've seen what those prices are going for. Now, there was a thread on BGG yesterday. I lurk, okay? I lurk. I read. I just may not comment. Where someone was saying, like, oh, it looks like the prices are going down because people realize, oh, people aren't going to pay $2,000 for this. So, but still, it's way inflated price than what you could have gotten it for. So, you're a brave man, Charles. I hope you enjoy the game, and please don't blame me if you don't. Yes, I was a couple minutes late, Chris. Thank you for pointing that out and shaming me in front of everyone. Your employee review will be soon. Nick, I can't stick around today, but just wanted to thank you for your recent for your Justice League Hero Dice review a while back. Recently picked the sets up from BG Board Game Bliss, excuse me, and I'm digging them. Well, I'm very happy about that. I like them. I don't think they're the greatest games in the world. They're very simplistic, but I think they look good. They play fine. They're good for solo. They're good for cooperative. I'm actually looking forward to the Flash and Green Lantern sets, which have been officially announced. They were already announced, but now the artwork's out. I don't know if they have a release date, but I am sure that our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, will have them, and I will have them then. Because then I can play a 4-player game. That'd be kind of cool, right? Technically, if you want to, you can buy multiple Batman sets or multiple Superman sets and have as big a game as you want with clones, but that's no fun. Okay. Which components and cards are logo Bugbear holding in her mouth, as in from what games are they from? Yes, so they are from, because I have to double check myself. I know one of them is just a magic card. I think one of them is legendary because it's got like a picture of Spider-Man, and I think one of them is Imperial Settlers. I believe that's what I intimated to the artist that I wanted to do. But let's take another look and make sure, because he might have put his own little spin on it, which I can totally appreciate. I like the way they turned out regardless. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so legendary, come on. Where you at? I can't see on this one. Boo. Oh, here we go. It's magic, legendary, and I think that's Imperial Settlers, and then Kingdom Death, I think, is what he was going for there. So, yep. Because obviously, I mean, honestly, I'm shocked how much detail there is given how small they are, so I'm very happy with how they turned out. All right. And yes, and that is our artist in residence, pointing out that I'm wearing the same T-shirt because I literally filmed them hours ago and haven't been to sleep. So yes, very uncouth of me. Nice intro, Nick. How are the allergies this morning? Kansas allergies are horrible this week. Well, since I haven't been to sleep, they're actually non-existent at the moment. That's the thing. Usually I wake up, and I usually wake up in pretty close proximity to the Q&As, and I need a couple of hours for the sinuses to, very grossly air themselves out. Just figured you'd want to know that in case you're eating breakfast or lunch at this point. It's the same thing at work, too. And people were like, are you sick? Don't be sick at work. No, it's just my allergies, I swear. Do you know any deck builder where the cards in your starting hand stay relevant till the end of the game instead of becoming a hindrance after a couple of turns? Well, sure, I'm going to say there's definitely more than one deck builder where you get bonuses for playing your starting cards. The one I can think of off the top of my head, although I know I've played others, is Naruto deck building game, which is the Cryptozoic Cerberus engine game, and it is Naruto. Like, he has at least one card, like his ultimate shadow. I don't know the names of these things. I'll get picked on again from the Naruto weeaboos who criticize how I pronounce his name. But it's got like his shadow, like his shadow clone multiple thing. His ultimate attack relies on punches, which are the crap cards you start off with. Like, the more you play, they just give like an incredible amount of bonuses. I like that concept, by the way. Like, if you're willing to be weak for a while, you can become incredibly powerful later. It's not really, but it makes me think of Final Fantasy Tactics, the original, where your main character Ramza, if you took him, like, I don't know how everyone else did it. I took him into like the ninja class, the knight class, and took him to all these different martial classes until he was like a dual weapon wielding just combat monster, right? But then in the final act of the game, if you only then, if you convert him back to a squire, which is, I guess, supposed to be thematic to him, like resolving his past or something like that, you get uber bonuses, and you get access to like this gear that you can only equip if you're a squire that makes him like awesome. So I like that concept. What do you think are the advantages of home gaming versus open gaming? Which do you prefer and why? Well, sorry, I'm checking that out. Okay. What do you think are the advantages of home gaming versus open gaming? Which do you prefer and why? Well, that's assuming that you mean open gaming is like going out to a venue, like either a game store or a restaurant or a convention or something like that, as opposed to home gaming. Well, look, I mean, the obvious things are it's very convenient for me to play from my home. A lot of it has to do with my dog. I don't have a dog sitter or anyone reliable. I have to leave her home alone for like 9 to 10 hours a day on the weekdays because of work, and I hate it. Like, there's part of me that is so ethically compromised by that it's sickening, because I love my dog, and I know she just sleeps all day, but still, it doesn't make me feel good. And on the weekends, I swore, like, I'm not going to do that. I mean, just for my own entertainment. So when I would go out to gaming events, I'd be gone for just a few hours and say, I gotta go. I'm not gonna leave my dog home alone much longer, and I can't afford to have a consistent pet sitter. But that's me. I mean, this is my personal experience with it, and I love the convenience of it, and also, like, you know, my fridge is here, and if people bring over snacks and we can prepare food, we can order food in. There's a lot of conveniences to it, right? And my game collection is here. I don't have to schlep an entire bag. But of course, the benefits of a venue are there, and they're significant. It's nice to not have to be responsible for anything here, to not have to be responsible for people showing up and having to entertain them and making sure the place is clean. Not that I ever do that. And all of these different things, right? And also, it's nice to get out of the house, or the crappy apartment. And it's also true that I have a lot of members in my meetup group, but not. I think I probably have the most of like the harder core board gaming groups. There's groups down here that just do everything, like Pinochle and Bridge, and they have like thousands of members because everybody joins. But I'm one of the better ones for people who are just into hardcore gaming as far as our membership, and in the Palm Beach area. But compared to that number, relatively few ever actually show up, which is always going to be the case on Meetup. But I think a lot of the reason has to do with the fact that it's my apartment. I don't hide that fact. It's right there in the Meetup. So people are like, oh, I'm going to some weird dude's apartment. You know, they don't think of it in terms of, well, his Meetup's been around for years. There's tons of people who are signed up. There's a lot of people who are actually going to this particular event. It's just, especially with women, and understandably so, I don't know why I should be going to this creepy guy's apartment. You wouldn't have to worry about that if the Meetup was in a public place somewhere. So, you know, there's pluses and minuses. I am down for a live stroke on camera. That's got to be somewhere on YouTube, right? Someone must have done that. Well, no. They have. There are videos of those news reporters suddenly like starting to talk gibberish as like their brain starts to melt or something. That's spooky, but also funny. Thinking about buying Biblios, what are your thoughts on this game? Biblios is a game I've had several chances to play and just never have. And I've wanted to. I've actually thought about picking it up, and I remember there was one time I wanted to pick it up and it sold out immediately at Cool Stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, don't worry about it. And then people have brought it over to my place a few times. It just never kind of came together for me. One day I'll play it, but I'm interested. Will you be getting the Zaya expansion before the rest of us to review it? I don't know. I've talked to, what's his name, Corey? Something? About... He was very happy with my initial review of the game, but I don't think I'm like on his list of reviewers, and he's very tight with the Dice Tower, and so that's probably a funky thing right now. So I don't know. I doubt it, but it would be cool. I love Zaya. I still in my top 100. Just the other day when it was getting to the end of game night, and I was looking for things to play. I was just scanning the shelves because I didn't want to learn something new at that time. I saw Zaya, and it's right behind me actually, and I was like, I'd love to play Zaya right now, but I don't have the time. It's a long game. Well, I mean, it could be whatever length you want it to be, but to really get the experience, it's going to be at least a couple hours. Thank you very much. The new art does look good. Thank you very much to our very, very talented artist. I had very little to do to it. I just gave him the basic framework, and he spit out some awesome looking stuff. It's $9.99 for 911 in the UK. Interesting. You just have to be different. Yes, I'm sure YouTube ate some questions, but I didn't actually. What was it 3 hours ago? I posted this Q&A. What is the biggest? So Chris is reposting a question from Rodek. What is the biggest board game related surprise of 2016 so far? Well, okay, surprise. This whole thing with Asmodee North America, I think that was actually a bleed over from the end of 2015, but that really turned a lot of heads and was pretty shocking. So I would say that was pretty big news so far. Where do you go when looking for out-of-print games? Honestly, Board Game Bliss is really great for that stuff. Sometimes I see games that I didn't even know existed, and then I look for them and I'm like, oh, no one else has this, so I'll pick this up. Or, but I don't look for out-of-print games a lot, though. So I can't say that that's a habit of mine. Especially now, my game purchasing, as far as, like, older stuff and trading, has slowed down to a near standstill. I still have a lot of games coming in, but they're all brand new stuff or Kickstarter stuff. Have you played Tuscany? If so, what are your favorite modules? So, all of that goodwill I have with Jamie Stegmaier regarding the whole thing with Scythe pretty much just cancels out what was my fault and the bad will I probably instilled, because he sent me a copy of Tuscany for review. Well, sort of, kind of, sort of. I backed the new edition of Viticulture, and he said, okay, I'll throw in Tuscany for review since you seem to be interested in it. And I never reviewed it, and I felt awful about it. It was such a daunting task. I really wanted to review every nook and cranny of it, because you know me. I give overly long overviews. And I just kept putting it off, and because I was intimidated by the scope of it, and I almost, even though I still own it, I will play it. I want to play it. It seems great. And even though I still have Viticulture, and Viticulture is great, the second edition, I almost unnecessarily purchased the Viticulture Signature Edition. Is that what it's called? The one that was the highlights of Tuscany together with Viticulture in one box with like some special input from Uwe Rosenberg. Because I was like, well, this would get me to review it finally in some form. I don't know. It's still here. It's on near the top of the list of older games to review. I feel bad about it. Massive Darkness. Backing? Thoughts? My thoughts on Massive Darkness. So it's a Cool Mini or Not project. So I think it's going to be inherently high quality. Good quality miniatures. People seem to have big problems with Cool Mini or Not as far as like fulfilling rewards. I will admit that I'm annoyed that a lot of the Cool Mini or Not, a lot of the Zombicide Black Plague expansion content has been in stores for like 2 months, and I'm still waiting on mine. Well, it's coming. It'll be here like Monday or Tuesday. But that it took so long for them to fulfill that to the person who sent it to me is ridiculous. And I get that, but I still think they're a very consistent quality company. And so I would, if you're interested in Massive Darkness, I think you're pretty safe in backing it. Now, as far as like the actual like theme and content and what's different about the game, supposedly it's based off the Zombicide engine. They don't seem to be acknowledging that very much in their Kickstarter page, but I've heard that before. Maybe I'm wrong in one of those two things. Nothing about it excites me. I'll just be very upfront and honest. I can't tell you like, well, this is obviously broken. Why would I back the game? Just looking at it, it just gives me the feeling of malaise. Like I'm thinking to myself, I just got Warhammer Quest Silver Tower, and that's pretty great. Do I need another dungeon crawler? I backed Mazmora from Cool Mini or Not, which is a dungeon crawler. I'm sure it's much lighter than Massive Darkness, but still, and I don't know that I need another game like that, and I'm just not excited. I don't know. I want to be. I like Cool Mini or Not. I like their projects. I kind of am disappointed that... So I get putting out iterative releases of Zombicide, right? I totally get it. Why not? It makes $1 bajillion. And it's a good game. And I would be fine with them doing that for all their releases. Keep putting out more content, right? And putting it on Kickstarter. But for a while there, they were also going outside of the box and doing new and creative stuff. So they did Chaos Ball, and they did, I never played it, but Rivet Wars, and they did a straight-up tabletop miniatures war game, The Wrath of Kings. And then they did a Euro game line, which I'm not too fond of, but okay, it's interesting, and they're trying new things, and people seem to like it. And so for them to now just revamp an older engine and spit it out as a very tried and true and tired dungeon crawler, I'm a little disappointed. Like, I wanted to see something brand spanking new, right? And this seems like they're just retreading stuff already. When I want to see, as Hamilton would say, bold strokes. But I'm very demanding of my publishers, especially when they've got a good track record and I expect more of them. Would you play a DBZ, Dragon Ball Z, I assume, deck building game with the transform card mechanic from Ascension to simulate characters powering up? Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2? Sure. You know, it's funny because when I backed the Ascension app, which turned out to be a debacle of a project because they wanted to fund their own app, and they gave you some physical rewards as part of it, and then they said, oh, you know what, we're happy with the company that's already doing our app. We're going to go back to them because this turned out to be too much work. And it's a whole disaster. It took forever fulfilling people's rewards. But as part of that, I almost considered backing at a really high level because you would have had the option to make your own set of cards with whatever you wanted on them. And I had grand ideas about taking characters from Hunter x Hunter, which is still one of my top 5 favorite anime series. I love it to death. I got to catch up on the manga. And I just thought it would have been great to have each of them on it. So it's funny that you mentioned Dragon Ball Z cards. That would be interesting. I mean, really, even Magic does that too. But I think that's pretty much what they had with the original Dragon Ball Z collectible card game. So, but yeah, as a deck building game, it would be interesting. But I always worry about theme. I don't want to have just another Cerberus engine card game. Although I will be buying the Attack on Titan one. Take a nap in front of the camera for 20 minutes. I'll loop it and play it on the TV while we open gifts. Is it birthday? Something? Happy birthday to somebody? Nick, thoughts on update number 14 on Massive Darkness? It got everyone super mad. Oh, are you going to make me look in the middle of this? Guys. You know I am super goddamn distractible. But I'm always I'm itching for a controversy. I'm a sucker for this. Hold on, I gotta freaking look it up. Alright, here I'm on the page. The living construct will bring armor and weapons to life against you. Hold on. Ajax the Sorcerer. Sorcerer class sheet pad. Living construct. I don't get it. That's the 14th one, right? Or am I wrong? I don't know. Tell me what's so bad about that. I can't tell at a glance. Do you like listening to music while playing games? If so, random playlists or themed music? Random playlists. I just listen to Spotify. I tried to play the dumb soundtrack to Fireteam Zero, and it was dumb because it's a dumb thing. The Tokaido soundtrack was fine, but I don't know. There's not much music on it, so in a game, we ended up playing like 2 or 3 games of Tokaido back to back when I got the collector's edition, and I still haven't reviewed it. So we just kept hearing the same music over and over again. I still just like Spotify. Some people in my group have said no, so I keep it very loud and I keep it right next to me, like literally right here. There's a little stool that I put my laptop on while we play games. I run my Spotify through it and keep it low. I just hate when there's deadening silence, because sometimes we either have just 4 people here or we have 2 groups of 6 or 8 or total, and when everyone's playing like a Euro game or something, and then everyone's suddenly silent, it's like maddening. I need noise. I have. All right, I don't understand, Charles. You gotta explain it to me. Oh, not you, Charles. You didn't. Okay, I'm confused. I'm getting comments confused. Loving the t-shirt. Just got a TMN Orcs t-shirt. I wish I was in my 30s. Yeah. There was another one. I don't know. Some of these t-shirts, as much as I love these kitschy t-shirts, I like this one a lot. Even though I don't like the Ninja Turtles a lot. But I just don't understand them. Like, there was a Ninja Turtles shirt that was a mashup of Ninja Turtles and Mega Man, where it was all 4 turtles, green, but Mega Man, I don't know. Sometimes I don't like the overreach, but I like this one for its simplicity. It just works very well. You're continuing to buy games because you review them. If you didn't review them, would your collection be complete? Oh, no, of course not. There's still, I mean, I love games. There'll still be games coming out, but I thought about this the other day, and yeah, the amount of games and the different, the variety of games would be significantly less. And I understand I'm being hypocritical somewhat. I just said that I wanted publishers to delve into a variety of things. But what I mean by that is I very firmly know what I like as far as like mechanisms and genres and styles. I know the types of Euro games I like and don't like. I know the types of Ameritrash games I like and don't like. How you pronounce that? Ameritrash? Ameritrash is how you pronounce that. And I know what I like in deck building games and card games, right? So I'd always be on the lookout for those. If I was just a civilian, okay, I would be on the lookout for those types of games. I'd purchase them, I'd play them, and I would enjoy them. And other games that I'd be on the fence about, I would just say, nah, if someone gets it, I'll play it. Which is how I used to be. But then I got a board gaming channel, and a lot of things that I'm like on the fence about, I'm like, well, would it be good for the channel? And I pick it up. That has dampened considerably. And even as a reviewer, I'm getting back to my roots of just buying what I'm interested in. And it's not pure selfishness. I think it's actually better for the channel because it's better for you, the audience, if I'm enthusiastic about what I'm doing. Whether I'm being positive or negative about a game, that has nothing to do with me being enthusiastic about it. I find some of the better negative reviews that I do are when I am fascinated about how a game failed and why it failed. And I get into it and I love talking about it and spouting off about it. Whereas I've done negative reviews where I'm just like, this game is garbage, and it just saps my very soul to even have to deal with it. But I could avoid that, you know? Whereas you think of a game like Mega Man, speaking of Mega Man, was very interesting to me. And it had some good things about it, and yet it was a failure. It was a bad game, but I loved talking about it. And I think that's where I'm trying to get to now is games that, you know, I go back to, I don't listen to Howard Stern anymore, but he said something that always stuck with me that I really tried to internalize when I got the channel, which was that he said, I never made content with the idea that, oh, I need to make content that they will like. So here's what people like, I will do that. Howard always said, he claimed that he did content that he would enjoy, that he enjoyed doing, and that he, if he was a listener, would enjoy, and just hoped that people would come along. All right? And if they did, they did. If they didn't, they didn't. But that it would be unsustainable for him to do something that he didn't have his whole heart and soul into. And so that's kind of where I'm getting to right now, whereas before I was trying to please as many people as I could, to be as diverse as possible, but there is something to be said for being focused. Okay, let me put it that way. And I think that there's also something to be said for fans who appreciate that and stay loyal. Would I rather have many fickle fans who may leave the channel the second I do a review that they're not happy with because they disagree with me vehemently, or people who understand where I'm coming from and stick around because they know that even if they disagree with me, they understand why and know that they will agree with me at some point. You know, something to consider. People often praise games with amazing components by saying that they might even... What? Wait. I gotta parse this out. Sorry. People often praise games with amazing components by saying that they might even put components from that game in other games. I think is what you're trying to say. Do you ever do that? I feel like it would add so much to pack up time. I don't do that unless I need to proxy things. I think the last time I did that was with Warhammer Quest Silver Tower, when I just needed to play the game because I had folks here. But I hadn't put the miniatures together yet because it was a huge, laborious process that I was unhappy with. And so I swapped in miniatures from Zombicide, the hero miniatures, and some of the monsters, and it worked fine. Because it could use anything. I could use pennies and nickels and dimes, but they're just cosmetic, but it does help the theme. And it was much more fun when we used the actual miniatures, even though they're not painted. This actually reminds me, I am like 4 days behind in responding to someone who I was going to work something out with to get some stuff put together for me. I am so far behind on emails and things. Questions for the hero dice. If you damage the enemy, do you count the points of damage against your score? For example, a guy has 5, but you do 3 damage, so only 2 would count against you? No. Because when he escapes, when he overruns, his damage markers are wiped away. It's just whatever his damage is goes against the city. I think, because you just literally put him in a pile. That's what I recall. It's been a few months since I played it. Are you changing the name of the channel to Board Game Beagles? No. At this point, I could rebrand. I mean, actually, YouTube mystifyingly makes it very easy. I could just change my name right now, which makes me wonder why Board Game Geek has such a hard time with it. They refuse. I really want to change my screen name on Board Game Geek, the kill shirt, because I don't like Dexter anymore. I loved Dexter when I made that name, and then the last couple seasons put such a bad taste in my mouth that I'm ashamed to ever say I was a Dexter fan. So I'd love to change my name. And I actually have other accounts. I wish I could just switch everything over. I don't want to give up my micro badge collection. I can't do that. So I could change the name to YouTube channel. Rebranding is a tough thing. Even though I'm not happy with the Board Game Brawl name, Beagles regardless, it's probably not the best thing to do. Did you back the TMNT Kickstarter from a while back? No, that you could not get me to back that even remotely. I don't. So listen, I was a Ninja Turtles fan. I know I'm wearing this shirt, but this is more of a joke, right? I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan when I was a kid. I haven't really enjoyed any adaptations since then. Okay, and looking back on it, I would not now enjoy the original cartoon. Okay, it's just wouldn't happen. That was another time. I kind of liked the cartoon they had on 4Kids maybe 10 years ago, something like that. Maybe not even that long ago. But it was just okay. I'd catch it when I could, but I'd never made it a point to watch it. So I'm not a huge TMNT fan. That's number one. Now, I would have appreciated the darker, grittier style they had in that, based more off of the original comic book. Okay, I can get down with that. Might be a little bit better, new, different spin on it at the very least. But it's from IDW Games, and IDW with me is on a losing streak for sure. Yeah, they're just. I'm sorry, I have nothing against them personally, and I appreciate their output, and I love that they're using all of these licenses and things like that. But they have been putting out crap as far as fun games. You might disagree. Feel free to let me know. And so that was number one big problem. The other problem is the designer was Kevin Wilson. Now, I like Kevin Wilson. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook, although we never interact. He's a good dude. He's done some really great stuff. He was part of the Descent design team because he originally did the game Doom. So I very much appreciate it, and he was also part of the design team for Android Netrunners, newest incarnation, all this type of stuff, right? However, he's also done a bunch of games for IDW besides Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they're terrible. They're terrible or mediocre. So I couldn't do it. And I know that a lot of people backed it strictly because it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I get it. And there's probably some properties I would give up my everything to back just because of it. I mean, if you put out Yeah, I mean, a lot of anime that I love, I'd be like, yeah, but not yet. My group meets up at this is our artist. My group meets up at a McDonald's nearby, and when we play Heroes Wandered, I insist on playing with the quirks for humiliation purposes, though it mostly falls on me. Well, that's the risk that you take, but I think that's very funny. You should always be willing to humiliate yourself in public, even if people aren't in on the joke. Is the camera on a spring holiday? Spring today, it's bouncing like crazy. No, it's because I'm putting my hands on the table more than I should. I gotta figure something out with that. Well, maybe I'll be buying myself a new board game table. Yeah, so I posted about that board gaming table, the Duchess, which I think is funny because it's from Archer. And it just sounds so regal. It's just a board gaming table. But I really, really want it. The two problems are it's a ton of money, and I could swing it, but then I'd be like pinching pennies for the next year. But also, it doesn't. The Kickstarter says it doesn't deliver until February. Now, we know it's Kickstarter, so that's probably more like April of next year. And I don't know. If I'm dropping that much money, which if I bought the tricked out version, and why wouldn't you, it would be like $850 with shipping, right? And I'm like, if I'm dropping that amount of cash, I want something to show for it. This isn't like a board game. Even a board game that costs like $150, I know that I can't get that board game anywhere, whereas I can go and get a table right now. That's what's giving me pause, but it looks great. What do you think will be next for Time Stories? Well, I don't have to speculate. They announced what it would be. It's an Arctic expedition, I do believe. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm sure they'll do a prehistoric one at some point. They'll touch on basically everything Chrono Trigger touched on. Can you give us some insight into the upcoming previews? Yes, that says previews. Also, a preview of the upcoming reviews. This is why people get confused on the terminology. I actually, maybe I'm being paranoid. I think I'm going to stop talking about the games I'll be reviewing soon. Number one, because if I backslide on releasing them in a timely fashion, I don't want people to be upset. And so that's my own selfish reason. But also, I do have a sneaking suspicion that people are timing their things based on me announcing things. Because I would do that. So I'm not going to do that. But as far as the previews go, I don't know. I feel kind of funny about that as well for some reason. Oh, whatever. Who cares? The previews are going to be Garden of Bees, Hope, and Dream Wars. Also Statecraft. Those are the 4 previews I need to work on post haste tomorrow. Hopefully after I've slept. 360-degree camera. How comfortable would you be with viewers seeing your apartment? Would you get one? I've considered that. Someone actually, who was I talking to about that? Someone was trying to talk me into getting one. Someone's messaging the hell out of me. Let me scroll down. Maybe I'm not having audio issues, am I? Usually that's what happens when my phone starts blowing up. No. Alright, now I lost my place. See? That's the problem. I'd consider it, but I don't know. I don't see a huge reason to do it. But those cameras are pretty cheap, so maybe I'll do one just to have fun with it. But yeah, I don't mind people seeing my apartment. It's just a disaster. It's not nearly as bad as it used to be. But it's still bad. Imperial Assault, more fun than Descent. I know they are basically the same. Are you a Descent fan? Oh, I'm a fan of both. And maybe tonight, I bought a ton of Descent stuff from our sponsor, Board Game Bliss. And please go check them out, boardgamebliss.com. Because I want to play the app with as much content as possible. So, mission accomplished, Fantasy Flight. I know that's exactly why you put the app out, and it's working on me because I'm a sucker. And so I do love Descent, and I can't wait to play it cooperatively, hopefully tonight, with my group. But I'll probably play it solo too, because why not? That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about it. I like Imperial Assault, and in fact I have a new expansion I want to play, the Bespin Gambit. But I don't like the theme as much. I like Star Wars just fine, but I much prefer the fantasy theme of Descent. But they're both like equally mechanically sound, I would say. I know that people say Imperial Assault is better because of like the threat meter and all that stuff, but I don't know. It's not that big a deal. And I don't play the skirmish mode of Imperial Assault, so you're barking up the wrong tree on that one if someone was to ask me about it. Do you still have any repercussions of not being on the Dice Tower? I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I think my total subscribers per month went down, but then they went back up. That's a very fluid thing anyways. And which makes sense, right? Regardless of whatever, even if I had left on very good terms, I'm no longer in front of 30,000 extra views per week, or whatever, however many views Board Game Breakfast got. So I always looked at it like that. It's just like advertising basically, and so I no longer have that advertising, and that's a hit. I mean, it certainly is. That's the reason why I stuck around for so long, was because I wanted the source for advertising. So yeah, that's always going to be something that would have been better for me having had it, but it is what it is. I'm sure there's also like publishers and people in the industry who won't deal with me anymore, but I legitimately don't care about. I care about bringing in viewers to the channel. I don't care about keeping people in the industry happy. I think you guys know that by now. I don't know, guys. You really think I should change this? Someone else brought up Board Games and Beagles. I don't know if you saw the other person's comment or not. I don't know. I think that's also too specific. Like, there's some very, like, okay, just speaking as someone who uses YouTube as a viewer of other channels and things, right? When I see very specifically named channels, it's kind of a turnoff for me, right? Especially when it's like the Meeple something or other. So, I'm a little hesitant to do that. Board Game Brawl, even though it's not great, it doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm not fighting. Well, I fight with people, I guess, but it's funny when I first got into that tiff with Rado, which seems like a lifetime ago, and now we're all better and colleagues again. Someone said, someone who was like indignant about me getting in a fight with him on the forum. I remember this very distinctly. He was like, "Is this where you get the Brawl in your name?" I was like, "Oh, come on! That name is finally coming back to haunt me." But yes, even though it's goofy and it doesn't make a lot of sense, it's still succinct and it's known. It is known, Khaleesi. Do you think you ever talk about what happened between you and the Dice Tower? Do you not comment on it because what happened is too bad to talk about? Well, there was murder, death, sex, things going on. No, it has nothing to do with that. Or just because you want to be professional? I guess to a degree, yeah. Here's what it really boils down to. It's over and done with. Whatever potential fallout there's been has subsided into not on my radar. I have more than enough to worry about just keeping the channel going on my own, which is how it always was to begin with. And it's just not something that I feel like needs to be like hit home over and over and over again. If people ask me about it, I'll talk about it, because one thing I decided is I don't ever want to avoid questions, and then unless they're just so over the top that I like an absurd like trolling questions, which so rarely happens. So I'll talk about it, but going into specifics and things like that, why? I mean, why open up a scab? It's not something I'm trying to avoid talking about, but they're them, I'm me. We parted ways, and it's, if you want to say it's professional, that's fine, but there's no reason to revisit old things. There is enough room out there. I think I've done well enough on my own that I've carved out a much smaller niche for myself, and we can coexist. Question: have you ever played Mansions of Madness? Is it fun? Yes. Can you see it on my shelf? It's underneath Imperial Settlers, which you can only see if I move my head in a certain way. I need to pull Imperial Settlers off the shelf because I got a new expansion for that. Shh. They're watching us. So yes, Mansions of Madness. I enjoy it. Mansions of Madness I have found to be an incredibly polarizing game. There are people I've played it with who have loved it. There's people I've played it with who have been like, I want those 5 hours back. So I don't play it very often, but I do enjoy it. I would say it's my second favorite Cthulhu-ish game. It's much more of a murder mystery game, though. Did you ever enjoy the X-Files? I did. I loved the X-Files. My mom and I used to watch it when I was growing up because my mom gave zero fucks about what I watched, which is for better or for worse. Like one of the first, like we watched really trashy direct to VHS at the time, sci-fi movies like Robot Jocks. And I remember we watched The Guyver with Mark Hamill, which was just guys in rubber suits fighting each other. And then she knew I liked it a lot, so she bought me the anime, which I wasn't really like into anime at the time. I was like 10 years old. And the anime had like guys' hands getting ripped off and chick getting her clothes ripped off and she's butt-ass naked. And she didn't care. It's probably why I'm so warped at this point. But yeah, we used to watch the X-Files, despite how like sort of PG-13-ish that was. And I enjoyed it greatly. And, you know, obviously it lost its way the last few seasons. This revamp, the miniseries, was a disaster. The second and, was it the third episode, were decent. Maybe even like the next one was okay. But no. There's those 2 good episodes. The one where they had to deal with the hybrid kids and the one with the wacky one with the guy who was a lizard man. Those were good episodes. 4 other episodes were junk. Absolute garbage. And I'm like, leave it dead. Leave it dead. You should never have brought it back. So I have some ambivalent feelings about it. I missed your question. We'll ask it again. No, I answered that question. You liar. Lying. Are you really considering purchasing the Duchess game table? And who or what is Archer? Oh my goodness. What kind of self-respecting geek are you? One with who knows his priorities, actually, so good on you. No, I am considering it. Who knows? I have 30 days to decide because it is very expensive and I don't get it right away. But I'll see how the rest of the month turns out, or the rest of this month and into next month. And Archer is an animated series on FX. It's in like season 6 or 7 at this point. Very close to R-rated. Mature comedy. It's about a man named Sterling Archer, who's codenamed Duchess because that was his. He's in a spy agency called ISIS, which they had to change the name of for obvious reasons nowadays. And his mother runs the agency, and she loves her Afghan hounds named Duchess more than she loved her son Sterling Archer, and she gave him his code name in the field as Duchess. Complicated, yes, I know, but it's a funny show. I'm actually behind on it. I'll have to pick it up again. But again, not for the squeamish. Are you a fan of scary films, and what movie freaks you out, not including jump scares? Well, jump scares are the things that least interest me because I think that's just hackneyed and stupid, right? I still was pretty impressed by the American version of The Ring. I still go back to that as a legitimately frightening movie. And again, not because like, booga booga, but because the whole tone of the film, this incredibly dark and visceral sense of foreboding, was just chilling. It did a very good job of that. The intercut scenes of the videotape in the well, and how it's supposed to be that you're watching the Ring tape the whole time, so now you have to pass it along. I just thought it was very well done. It looked beautiful, too, in a creepy sort of way. But I'm not typically a fan of scary movies. I think the last good one I watched was... what's the name of that movie? It Follows. That's what it is. Which was kind of an indie darling from last year. I enjoyed it. I don't think I liked it as much as the critics seemed to. I think I had too much hype for it at that point, but I still enjoyed it. Again, very, very creepy atmosphere with very low budget. You meant update 13. Well, god damn it. I should have just scrolled down further. Well, let's take a look, shall we? Now you've got my interest. Well, it must be this. Get ready to face the elementals. If it ain't this, I give up. Okay. Okay. So far, I don't understand why people would care. $40. I don't know. Is it the price or they don't look that good? I think they look all right. I mean, I don't know. Tell me why people are upset. I can't speculate. How much longer we got? 7 minutes. Oh. People are mad because it's too expensive. Okay, there you explained it. Okay, I guess. I don't know. This seems pretty comparable to other sets that they've sold. $10 per mini. Uh, 2015, best year of gaming. Time Stories, Pandemic Legacy, Kingdom Death, Seven Wonders Duel, Blood Rage, Codenames, Elysium, Isle of Sky, Warhammer Quest Adventure Card Game, English Mysterium, Marco Polo, etc., etc. When you put it like that, that's a pretty damn good year of gaming, come to think of it. Like, the games I like the least on that list that you just named, I still like quite a bit. Like Isle of Sky. Still a pretty good game. Interesting. Lance the Undead Viking has started using mechanism spelled with a K, thus combining mechanism and mechanics. Okay. How would you know, though? Or is it pronounced differently? When Flash and Green Lantern Hero Dice come in or you hear a release date, can you post it on Facebook for us, please? I assume that I would. Assuming I don't forget. Why do my comments not get through? I don't know. I don't think I've avoided anything this Q&A. Co-op or solo, just recommend for both AI and Victory. What? I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand your question, Jedi Sith. I finally acknowledged your comment, I think, and I don't understand. Do you still play Blood Rage much? And the Kickstarter rewards expansion's a must. I haven't played it in a while. I haven't actually played it since like maybe a week after I reviewed it. I played it once more. I like it though. I mean, I don't play a lot of my games very often, and so I still have it. It's on the shelf behind me, probably behind my enormous head, as so many games are. And the Kickstarter stuff, a must? No. So the Kickstarter stuff adds another faction. And, well, and remember, all the factions are the same. They are only cosmetic. That's it. Like, do you like snakes and the color green as opposed to boars and whatever color, the brown color? That is the only thing. And so that is not that necessary. So other stuff is, like, there's some extra monsters. That stuff's neat. I would say that's the that's the thing you probably miss the most. But again, because it's nice to have another variety of monsters to summon, but not game changing. Not like I gotta have it. I'd be fine. The only other things are what there's the are they exclusive? I don't know if they're exclusive. The like what are they called? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. They're like mystics. Like everyone gets like a shaman or a mystic. Those are okay. Again, I could care less about them. I couldn't even remember what they were called. And then there's the gods. Totally unnecessary. They're interesting. They add something neat to the mix where they come out into the board and have an effect on the area. But no, you don't need them. So I think you're fine. I think this is one of the few Kickstarters for Cool Mini or Not where you can be okay just getting the retail version and not have the FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, I can't believe I said that. Nick, have you had any non-famous... What? Have you had any famous Magic the Gathering wannabe games recently, preview or otherwise. There's always games that want to be Magic the Gathering. I mean, like, I thought Allegiance is a very good game. It's still in my collection for now. That mimics Magic in a lot of ways, but I can't think of any others I've done previews for in a recent history. If you could be any fictional character, who would you be? Well, I'm just rewatching One Piece from the very beginning, which is super dangerous. So I would say Luffy. I mean, come on. He's incredibly powerful. He's stupid enough to not care that he's stupid and have a good time. And everybody likes him. And he can eat and not ever gain weight. And I don't go swimming anyways. Let's see, where were we? If you could be any... do we miss any Bernie Sanders talk at the beginning? No. I've learned not to put the political stuff at the beginning because then people immediately get pissed off. Downvote and leave. Now, sad week, okay? I mean, everyone knew this was probably inevitable. The fix was in. I mean, literally, I believe the fix was in from the media. And, Bernie couldn't bring it home. I mean, a win in California wouldn't really have changed anything. Would have been an awesome, yeah, we're up yours, DNC. You will acknowledge us. But they still will. Every vote for Bernie has... I mean, and the other thing to remember, too, is that the margins by which Hillary won California and even New Jersey were significantly less, like 13% less than how she won in 2008. And this is a 74-year-old Democratic socialist, however you want to say it, from Vermont, uber progressive, gave her the fiercest primary fight like she never expected. Okay, so we have a lot to be proud of as Sanders supporters, and Bernie Sanders has a lot to be proud of, and I think that they're going to have a lot of their agenda pushed through on the national platform. And I don't like voting out of fear, but it's probably the case that I and a lot of other people will hold our noses and vote for Hillary. But I will say that I completely understand people who are Bernie or bust, and I also think I'm incredibly aggravated. First off, I've the way that Hillary supporters have acted, most of them, this entire race has been despicable. Like, Hillary Clinton's campaign staff themselves wouldn't be this obnoxious. I've been really disappointed. I've unfriended a couple of people on my Facebook feed. You can give me dissenting views all you want, but the stuff that they post is just repugnant. The fact that they're still floating this narrative that Bernie Sanders and his supporters and his campaign staff are sexist because they're not acknowledging what a wonderful milestone it is that we're having a female president. Yeah, it's amazing. But does that mean that we forget everything? Everything just goes out the window. And the mere fact that she's a woman and that someone dares to oppose her means that we're all sexist? Please, explain this to me. As a feminist who cares deeply about the fact that women are marginalized in our society, still, explain to me how I and other Bernie Sanders supporters are sexist for just not supporting a particular candidate. But this woman from the New York Times who clearly is political maneuvering and has an agenda, asked him at a press conference, don't you think it's sexist to, oppose Hillary Clinton, and got really aggravated and testy and got sick to all of her followers on Bernie, and just, it's so disappointing. And then they say, they call us fools and idiots and fall in line, we need you for, you need us, but you're talking down to us like children. And so, with all that said, while I may, depending on how things go, hold my nose and vote for Hillary, I can completely understand why people wouldn't be willing to be intimidated by fear like that. I just know that any Republican presidency would do irreparable damage to the country, but especially a Trump presidency. And that is why, even though fear is the tactic Republicans use traditionally to get people to the ballot boxes, in this case, I don't think we have a choice but to stop him. So, sad week. This is the summer of no choices. This is the summer of poor choices. And we are out of time, folks. Let me answer a few more, though, because I feel bad. I know they piled up. I come from War Machine Horde's miniature game. How much more complicated are the Kingdom Death monsters? I think if you did... Oh, you mean as far as putting them together? They're pretty complicated, but I don't think they're that much more complicated from any other hardcore miniatures war game. Hey, Nick, please give Bugbear a big belly rub for me. I will. She's mopey today. Hey, Nick, we talk a lot about minis on Kickstarter, but just to know, if you have the choice for a beautiful game, art book or playmats? Art book, because playmats I just don't. I've fallen into the trap of buying playmats before and I never use them. Art book, I'm not saying I'd pull it out and look at it all the time, but more likely. Worst game master guffaw. I've fallen into the trap of being super competitive with the people I'm running through the game and wanting to kill them. It's easy to happen when you play with a bunch of super competitive guys. Yeah, I've heard the Dexter books are really good, that the series is based off of. I have not read them. I'm just find one more. Guys, if I don't answer your question, ask it again. Save it for next time. There will always be next week. All right, we're going to end it here. Are you interested in playing Overwatch at all? I'll end it with a non-board game related question. Yes! I really am, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to a game. And there's still a part of me that dislikes online squad-based gaming completely. Like, I actually played the Mass Effect 3 online multiplayer for a while, and it was fun, but I started to get really aggravated with people, like 11-year-olds, screaming at me for not doing the right thing. So I kind of lost my taste for it. But man, Overwatch looks amazing. I love the characters. I want to be part. I want to be part of that world. Part of their world. I do. You can tell them I haven't slept. So I'm very curious about it. I have a lot of friends on Facebook who are talking it up to the nines too. People who I deeply respect based on other games that I've liked. Like this one girl I'm friends with, like she loves all the same like BioWare games I did, and she's talking about Overwatch all the time. And I'm like, it's probably amazing. So I don't know. One day I'm sure I will. Same thing with like Fallout 4. I'd love to play. But Fallout 4, I've committed to. I'm waiting until all the downloadable content is out and getting the Game of the Year edition. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of other questions. I love our Q&As so much so that I'm willing to forgo sleep to be here with you guys and gals because I have so much fun doing it. It's my favorite part of the week. I'm sorry that there wasn't more reviews. I try to put up more reviews in between Q&As so it doesn't look stupid on my channel. But there are a couple. There's an unboxing I'm hoping to upload that didn't come out that great, but try to enjoy it anyways. And we will be back. I have to work on a lot of previews and get those out of the way, but then lots of reviews hopefully next week. I want to get into the habit of doing one video per day, regardless of what it is. And in that way, I think it's much more manageable. I don't feel as intimidated, and I don't lose that much sleep. I get it done, and you guys have a steady stream of content. Potentially like 5 reviews a week. Pretty good, right? We'll see if I can manage that. That's my new commitment to you guys and girls. So thank you very much. Make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss. Make sure to check out our Patreon if you are so inclined. And I will see you next week. Please have a fantastic weekend and get some sleep for me. Take care.